Hey everyone, Dawn here, and gotta work on the wheel again. I've managed to kill another wheel. This time my EX30, the bearings are dead again. Last time I killed the bearings on my Master, and this time I killed it on the EX30. I would say that it's not completely my fault because I was on a group ride and I told the guys that we couldn't be doing like those stream crossings. We did like 30 stream crossings and they were like super duper deep. Like the stream that I crossed with my Master, nothing compared to these streams that was crossing with my EX30. My EX30 was doing it, but yeah, very next day. So the very next day after that group ride, then I had to do an 80-mile ride with a group ride with Marty. We did GMR up to the lodge and to oh Cogswell Dam or something dam, right? My most favorite is ride. It was that one, but it's 80 miles. And it was really interesting because at the beginning of that group ride, the bearings didn't sound very bad at all. I mean, I could start hearing it swishing and making a sound, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad. I was like, okay, well, I can get, a ride in before I have to change out the bearings. But by the end of the ride, it was so bad that the guys were saying that I was in danger of the bearings seizing up on me. I don't think it was that bad, but I don't know why it was sounding bad. It was sounding it was creaking, it was clicking, it was clanking, it was like really, really bad. And it was just interesting because the progression of it was that fast from the morning until, well, I guess we ended in the evening. But I mean, that's super fast progression. So I'm very interested to take the wheel apart. I almost said bike. To take my bike apart and take a look at the bearings and stuff. I also, before this, I had taken apart my other bearings, the broken one from my Master, and I did a dissection on it. I tore it apart, and I just basically decided that I need to study this whole bearing thing and understand it better and figure out how to make things better so that I can do what I want to do without destroying all my loved ones. So that is the goal for today. I am going to show you from start to finish, show you tips and stuff that I've learned about bearings and different things that we can maybe do to prevent these things from breaking down on us. All right, so let's get started. All right, so the first thing we'll do is let you have a listen at the bearings. That actually doesn't sound as bad as when I was writing it. It was really bad when the squeaking and creaking and clicking. This is just sounding like a whirling, which is worse than my Master sounded, but I really thought because at the rate of deterioration from morning to evening, on that one ride, and then I thought, and then it's been sitting for several days since then, or a week, or I don't know how long it's been, but no, I think it was last Sunday, and today is Thursday. So it's been sitting since then, and I thought if it continued at that rate, even without writing it, then it'd be super bad. But this isn't super bad right now, but still, will be interesting to see what is in there. So to get to it, we basically have to take everything out and just drop the wheel. I'm not sure if I want to show you all that. You guys know how to do all that already, right? We'll see. All right, so the bearing. We are using this 6012 2RS C3 EMQ. I will try to remember to put a link. If I forget, then remind me. the parts of the bearing. So what I did was my last bearing, the bad one from the Master that we pulled out, Roger took one apart, and then when I went ahead and did the same. It's not too bad to take this apart, but this is the anatomy of the bearings. You have your outer race, your inner race, the ball bearings, and a retaining clip, one on this side, one on the other side, and those two are pinched around each bearing and held together by retaining clips. So this is the scarring on the Master from just one quick dip and being changed out a week or so later. It's these scar marks that made, because I did do an experiment with this. That was the whole point of taking this apart, was to do an experiment. Well, one, I needed these parts to help me install future bearings, and also the other experiment was to figure out what tool would be best and what procedure would be best to be able to remove these seals without damaging them. So this damage on the seals is not from me. So I experimented with that and figured out a good way, a good method, because I want to be able to repack bearings. A lot of people say to use a pick. And then I've tried other things, and I've found that the best method is to use a very, very thinnest bladed precision screwdriver. That one is my favorite method right now. And so this is a bearing that I have now repacked, a brand new bearing that I repacked and siliconed, and it is now sitting to wait and dry, and I'm working on my second one, so I'll show you how I do this one. So first thing, let's see, let's go ahead and remove this seal, and I'm going to try to get up against the metal. And basically there is a metal backbone, and you don't want to bend that metal. You don't want to damage that metal backbone. So that is the metal backbone throughout the center. And then where you saw me pry, you can now see here, there is no damage to the seal. So that's the goal. Pop this off and we take a look. And what I see is very minimal grease in here. Oh, and here you can see the retaining clip bent in around each bearing, and those are the rivets that hold them together. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I just want to add a little bit more grease into, and the grease that I'm using is this Stay Lube Extreme Pressure Staplex Premium Red Grease. Now, it doesn't matter too much what grease you use. I know different people have different opinions on it. There is a difference in quality of grease and what they will do for you. So you don't want the cheapest stuff, but I guess there is a bit of truth between you get what you pay for, and also, I mean, there is a difference between bad grease and better performing grease, I guess, but otherwise it doesn't matter. And everyone seems to agree that it doesn't seem to matter. You can mix greases. It's fine to just add grease. So if this was a damaged one, you probably want to get it all out. You don't have to get, I guess different people think different. You can either get it all out by manually getting out as much as you can and then using a solvent to dissolve the rest of the grease that is inside and then repacking it with new grease, or you can just repack with new grease. And the ideal way to repack with grease, So what I'm doing is actually not the ideal way, but I'll tell you why in a sec. First, let me show you the ideal way. The ideal way, well, first is to wear gloves and then to put a huge ton of grease on the palm of your hand, have both seals out, and then starting from the bottom, going in here, grabbing this grease and then scraping it so that the grease will go in from the bottom and shove out the top. When it does that, you know that it's getting shoved and it's, you know, really going all the way through and coming out the other side. And it will also push out the old stuff. So that is the most ideal. But, there are also devices you can get, grease or bearing packers. And so that you put the bearing into the device and it'll shove, you squash it together and uses pressure and it'll shove all the air out of there and completely fill it with grease. Now, I don't want to completely fill it with grease because it'll add too much resistance. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So you can now see there's still some gaps, but this is a lot more grease than it originally had. Basically, I'm just thinking that what it came with wasn't enough, and I just want to add a little bit more. And since I can do it without damaging it, I don't see the harm. So you saw how much grease I put in there. There's still a lot of gaps. But that's what I want because I'm going to also do the other side. I'm also feeling now the resistance. So I did test this. I packed the first one, right? And then this one was not packed yet. So I packed this one and then I felt the resistance and then I felt the resistance on this one. And then I was like, okay, oh great, now I don't know. I think I did this side, so this side still looks too clean. So that is how I'm determining how much grease I want in here. The more grease you put in, the more resistance it will add to your bearings. Which overall might not even be a big deal at all, but once again, I'm just playing it safe. Oh, I shouldn't have given up on it. All right. This time, it won't. There we go. No damage to the seal. Okay, so what I also wanted to show you was, so we packed the other side, right? Because the original grease is blue and mine is red. So we packed the other side. Now watch what happens when I start moving this around. You see the red coming out onto this side? So that's what I'm looking for. As it goes, you see on the inner race how the red is starting to come through. That is what I want, because that is now telling me that the amount of grease that I had put on the other side is enough to come out and coat that inner race. Because really the surfaces that need to be coated is the top outer race and the bottom inner race. Those are the contact points of the ball bearings. And then the other stuff is just nice to have covered, generally speaking, because, to protect against corrosion, in case of water ingress or dust, any kind of contaminants in there will trigger corrosion. So basically, the job of the grease is to protect lubricate, making everything go smoothly. But in this case, too much will add too much resistance, and too little might not do too much. All right, so this is how much I've put in. You can see there are still gaps, but it doesn't really matter because as this thing is spinning around in the wheel, it's going to, so you can see this resistance is just fine. I can definitely live with this resistance. And you can see how it's going to build up as it goes around and have a really nice thick layer, which is perfect. That, I think, is the proper amount of grease for this. Okay, so now we just have to put this seal back on. Press all the way around. And so now it doesn't even look like I've done anything to it. See, there's no damage to the seal, which is the concern about repacking the bearings. You don't want to damage the seal. Now, one more thing I'm going to do, which is minor, it's overkill, I don't know, might even be stupid, but I'm just pressing all the way around down the center just to really make sure that I've got a good seal. Once again, overkill, because I know that it's seated perfectly. But I'm going to take my silicone, RTV silicone, and I am just going to apply a thin layer of it to the outer edge, because the inner is going to be moving, so it's going to be useless there. But the outer edge is not moving. So I'm going to apply it to the outer edge. Can you see that there? And only to the outer edge. And this is just because I know from experience that these rubber seals are not exactly completely water and dust proof. Well, I guess if it's waterproof, it's dust proof. That's why I always wanted waterproof wheels. Not so much because I'd be in water, but because anything that's waterproof should be dust proof as well. All right, so you can see that I just put a thin coat of silicone to that outer race, the edge between the outer race and this seal. And I'm going to ignore the inner race, which arguably is, you know, there's like, well, if it can still get into the inner race, then what you're doing is useless. Well, not necessarily. I mean, you know, it may reduce the chances. I mean, you could say that I'm cutting the chances, well, more than half, because it's a greater surface area on this outer race than the inner race. Do I really need to get more silicone? I guess I do. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh my gosh, bless me. All right, I hope I remember to edit that out. Oh, now I got too much silicone. There, just to the outer race. I freely admit it is probably overkill, but it also doesn't hurt anything, I don't think. And it makes me feel better. I am extremely OCD. All right. So we're going to test that this moves freely. Everything feels good. Test that the first one moves freely and everything feels good. All right, so now it's just a matter of taking the wheel apart. I'll set these aside so that the silicone can dry. And we will take the wheel apart now and get that part going. I'm starting to take the wheel apart now, and before I get too far into it, I do want to show the state of my wheel. Now, I usually keep my stuff really clean. This is from one ride. This is from the ride that killed my wheel. So just to give you an idea of how bad it was, and I'll show you more as I get to it, but I did want you guys to make note. My poor wheel. And when we're done, it will look beautiful again. More looks at the condition that my wheel is in. Just so that you know that it wasn't just an easy little ride. I'm pulling out huge chunks of the mud, and in between there you can still see huge chunks just buried all in there, stuck around the stanchion. So yeah, this wheel needs to be completely taken apart, cleaned, and fixed up, but we can do it. Oh no, I don't see anything wrong with this. Why would you think that this would break a wheel? Taking a little inventory of what we got. We got the pedal hangers here. Looks like you have to take the pedal hangers off in order to get to the motor screws. So there's this. I had to take off the display in order to get to undoing this cable to the display, and also not that cable. There's another cable in there, and I can't think right now. Oh my gosh, I can't think. These thingies, these pins, and this one. So that goes over here to the motor. We got the battery boxes. I gotta clean everything up. Oh my gosh, this is all the mud that was still caked on my wheel. Take a good look so I can get this out of here. Still gone. I scraped off the big chunks of mud, and I still got to clean all the mud out of there, but he's all taken apart there. Kickstand is off over there. I got the display thingy over there. All the screws. New bearings. Oh, my boba. I need my boba for strength. All right, so look at my poor bearings. They're so sad. All right, so the next thing to do, I guess, would be to clean this off and work on removing the motor cover. So this is the part that I'm most anxious about, because I am not strong enough to separate and get this motor cover off. I'm not stronger than the magnets, is what I know from before. So this is gonna be interesting. All right, I don't know if you can see me. I don't really care at this point. You probably can't hear me either because I don't have my mic on. Once again, I don't care. Gonna get the motor cover off. I need to get the motor cover off, and this is the part that that I'm no good at because I'm not strong enough. Okay, so we got all the screws off. Bounce on it. Oh my gosh! I think I did it. Okay, to be fair, oh, sorry about that light. Sorry, that's my garage light. I need light. It's getting dark. To be fair, I did kind of bounce on it. I pre-bounced a few times, but I didn't think it was going to go. But it just did. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Wait, what did it do? Oh shit, I'm so scared. Like, I am so paranoid that it's going to like just snap back together and like break all my fingers. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ah! Oh my God, it's snapping back. Oh my gosh. Okay, gotta keep my weight on it. Oh God, please don't kill me. I need more weight. Okay. Now reach between my legs and yank. That's too hard. Oh my gosh, you guys. I did it! Look! And it's beautiful! It's a boy! Can I get off now? Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, the magnet's turning by itself. So there was silicone in here, which is good, and the magnets look great. Everything in here actually looks great. It's just the area around the bearings that look horrible. So I'll get that cleaned up, and then I gotta see if I can separate the other side. I don't know if I can, but oh my gosh, you guys, I did it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't put it next to anything metal. Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid of magnets, just because, okay, I love little baby neodymium magnets, but I know that they like snap and then it like pinches your skin and then it like kills you, and it's so horrible. So like I'm just super paranoid because this is a big magnet. All right, bye. All right, I'm back. So there is that part. Here is this part, and this is going to be interesting because this is totally different than a master. Here's the bearing, motor cover, but look at the other side. So motor cover, it is covered. It is totally covering, and so we can't just hammer this and pop this out the other side. The only way, it seems, is to get something into this lip and pop it out this way, but oh my gosh, that seems quite impossible considering the amount of hammering that would require. Oh dear. I hate this bearing. No, I hate the motor cover. And the worst part is, I'm almost out of boba. So I am making progress. This is how much has come out, and that's good. Right now I am past the point of being able to use the hammer because the slot, the gap is way too big. So what I'm doing is I have some, I don't use these that much. So I started with a small one, stuck it in here, and the idea is I'm hammering downwards, and since this is an L, this is sitting on top of the bearing, and it's going to knock the bearing, and then I just keep sliding it around. And I know it's working because right now this one is way too loose, so then I moved to the next size, and this one became too loose, so then I go to the next size, and this one is loose here, and then it's tight over here, and then it's a little bit tight over here. So where it's tight, I know that hasn't extended out as far as the others. So right here, it's tight. Right here, I can't get it any further, so then I will hammer. That loosened it up. So Now here is tight. See how loose that is now all the way around. I have one final size. It's tight over here. Oh my gosh! I got it! Oh my gosh. Okay, so not too bad because I'll have to check to see how long it took me to get this done, but Josh said that it took him all day and he was using a chisel. See all the rust on this side? All right, so look at all this rust. So yeah, it's all rusted all around here. So let's take a look inside real quick. Let's go ahead and take a look at this bearing. This is the bad one with all the rust. Well, I guess we can take a look at the good side first. What? It's not even that bad. There's like no rust in here. Nothing at all. This side is fine. All right, let's take a look at this side. Oh my gosh, I did all that work and this bearing is fine. What is going on? A perfectly good bearing. This is the second motor cover, and this one is messed up. The grease is pretty bad. And in here, it's not as bad as I thought. I mean, from the sounds that it was making on the ride, I mean, this is not good, but it's not as bad as, I don't know, but I mean, it's definitely not good. And then the other problem is, like, you can't just check on this side, like it could be worse on the other side too. And this is the same type of motor cover thing that covers up the whole bearing, so we're gonna have to do the same thing to get this one out, but such a pain in the butt. I don't think these are made to be taken out, honestly. And so and you can hear that it sounds bad, but this doesn't sound as bad as when I was riding that ride. Like, even when I had the wheel on a stand in this video, and was just, it didn't sound as bad as on the ride. So I don't understand how and why it sounded so bad on the ride, and then it like kind of fixed itself a little bit. I don't know. I don't think this video is really showing the yuckiness in there. And I mean, another concern is how little grease there is in here too. So I don't know. Let me go ahead and pop this one out, and then we'll just keep going. Here are the sizes. Start out with the smallest one possible, which is this size over here. It's just whatever fits. So smallest size fits in, and then start hammering. Then I went to the next size up and kept hammering. And this honestly is the best technique I've tried so far. I'm sorry, I have a thing. I have to put my tools away. Okay, so then the next size will be this. Yep, it barely fits in there. Oh my gosh, I hate hammering because I already hammered my foot. Now I'm gonna hammer my finger. I hate it. I'm just not very coordinated. Okay, now I can feel that this one is super loose. So I'm going to put this one away and just keep moving up. And then as you saw with the first one, then once I get to the last one, it should pop out. But I guess I'll keep you guys here. You can always fast forward if you want. But I'm keeping you here to show how easy this is, or how quickly I can get this done. Hold on, let me see if I can zoom out a little bit so you can see a little better. And it doesn't require brute force. Well, I don't know. Is this called brute force? I mean, brute strength. Yes, this is brute force, but I mean like total strength. You see how this is like a little bit tight to get in? That's when it's perfect. Because it's actually providing an even downward force, which is what I need to get this bearing out. Oh my gosh. Ow, ow, ow. And when I get tired and bored, oh my gosh, I've been working on this for hours. It's already 10:25. Wait, this isn't the next size up. Why am I missing? Oh wait, I think I was missing one from earlier anyways. Is this the one I was missing? Oh, I skipped a size. Ooh, look at that. I was able to skip a size. Wait, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, fine. Skip. All right. Told you guys I was bad with a hammer. There we go. So that's all it took. So much easier than the fire and all the other stuff that I tried. Oh my gosh, from start to finish. You guys saw it right here. That's all it took. And I didn't even need to go to the largest size this time. I think because this time I kind of knew what I was doing, what I was expecting. So we see a lot of rust in here. So we need to clean all that out anyways. And this is the inside. So let's take a look at this side and see if there's any difference. So I want to put this down. Well, I guess maybe I'll zoom in for you guys. I don't know. This whole bearing thing is just kind of weird. It's weird that it would change sounds, that it would deteriorate so quickly, but then it's not sounding as bad now. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, okay. This is way more black. Remember, they're using like a clear light blue grease. I don't know if it gets bad and then maybe, let's see, maybe it gets, I don't know, maybe it breaks down somehow and then it's not so bad over time. But that would be like self-healing, which is, I don't know, it's just so strange. And there's not enough grease for me to even scrape. All right, but let me see if I can show you. See, that is pretty bad, but still, it doesn't quite account for the sounds. And why do the sounds change towards the better over time? Oh, I can definitely feel grittiness. Okay, so I can feel gritty and all that, but once again, it just, I don't know, it just doesn't add up as is all that I'm saying. All right, so I think that these bearings can be salvaged. I mean, I think I can get all the rust out of it and all that, but honestly, the new bearings are $20 a piece. So is it worth all that trouble? I don't know, but I kind of like doing stuff like that. So, okay, so I'll keep these two bearings. Right now, I'm gonna get the rust out of here, clean this up, and then I'm gonna put the new bearings in. Cleaned out the rust. It's looking nice and shiny. I am going to put some RTV blue silicone in here, and I want this to squish out when it all gets in. I want to reseal this inner gasket. And I don't know, there was a lot of rust in here, so maybe I'll just be generous with this. It can squish out if it needs to, and the silicone doesn't have crazy amount of grip or anything, so it's not, I mean, it was all over the engine cover. The engine cover is pretty easy to get off as well, so I'm just gonna smear it all around here. It'll squish out where it needs to squish out, and I just want to seal this up better because obviously before it was not sealed up well at all, and everything came in here. All right, so that's good. Once again, I do not know what I'm doing. I'm just playing it by ear. So we got our first new bearing. Check it. Nice and silent. What side should I go? Does not matter. Let's see. In comparison to this one. This bearing was still good, so it was only one bad bearing made all that horrible noise. This is what the new bearing sounds like. Completely silent. All right, so how am I gonna get this in now? Wait, let's just make sure yet. I don't think it matters which side goes in. What would be the best way to get you in? Deadfall? Feels like it's seated. Looks good. I think that is how it's supposed to be seated. Let me just push it on a little bit more. Hopefully that's it. So here's the second one. Here is the second cover, second rubber cover. Both engine covers now have the bearings, the new bearings placed. Now for the boring part, cleanup and reassembly. I put a bigger blade screwdriver flathead on, and I am taking off the old silicone so that I can apply new silicone on a nice clean cover. So there's all of this old silicone. And this is actually how I broke my nail, not by actually doing any of the heavy work, but by using my fingernail to scrape this off. See, so if you leave this old stuff on, then it's not going to be able to create a proper seal. So we do need to get all of this old stuff off as well as we can. And this part is not as fun. And gotta be gentle so that you're not scratching up. I know I probably shouldn't be using metal on metal, but I'm being gentle, keeping it at an angle. I'm watching what I'm doing and just going lightly. Oops, you can't even see what I'm doing, but you get the gist of it. All right, I'll be back with the next part. I have cleaned off the old silicone, and now to apply the new silicone. Just going to be doing this all the way around for both covers, and then we'll get the covers on. Go like this, and it just needs to drop on. Oh my gosh, that was so scary. Ah, this is the first time I did that before. Okay, so that is on. And other cover on. I have everything back together as far as the wheel assembly goes, and I am now putting the motor covers back on and following a torque pattern, which is to basically go like in a star shape or opposites. So like if I do this one, then I'm going to go across and then do this one. It's just for evenness, and you go a little ways and then you stop, you go across, you go a little ways. Always trying to keep things kind of even. And then once everything is even, then another technique is to go around the world, which is now you can just go all the way around. Tight. I believe that is everybody. And now I'm going to manually go around the world and check the torque. This will just ensure that everybody is even and nothing is going to be stripped. And I have a set feel already for how tight these should be, and there is silicone in each of these holes. So the silicone will, the RTD silicone will ensure that nothing gets in, like waterproofing wise, and also it'll help prevent the screw from backing out. So I don't think you need to use silicone around the edges here. Some silicone that has oozed out. I'm just gonna wipe away any excess if there is any. When you're done on this side, we'll flip it around and do the other side. It's funny, these motor cover bolts that I took out, some of them had Loctite on them, some of them absolutely did not have Loctite on them. So spin this until we find a hole, and then pop all these screws in, and then tighten all of this up, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, so this is what he looks like now. No more mud. Beautiful MG pedals. There's still some little nooks and crannies that I can't reach with anything. And I guess the moment of truth. My button is so hard to push. There we go, and I think that completes this project. Oh, all right. I guess that's the end. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.